Xero, where you manage partnerships, has an incredibly well-rounded and diversified partner ecosystem. Can you explain us what type of partners do you have and how they all tie together?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We actually have a few different categories of partners at Xero, and I've had the fortune of working across a couple of those areas. So when I joined the business, I worked with our accounting partners, which is probably what people are most familiar with Xero when you think of partners. So Xero is accounting software for small businesses, and we work with thousands of accounting practices from the big four down to very small kind of mum and dad bookkeeping firms in all of our markets. And so we're building software for firms to use, and then they will help their small business clients get set up with Xero. So that's a core partner that we have, which helps us get distribution and growth as a business for the product. And the area of the business that I now work in is more around the platform. So the API, which wraps around Xero, which enables banks and other applications to build to us, or we can build to them, and effectively solve product problems. So we have a range of partnerships in that part of the ecosystem, which I'm now responsible for managing. So a few different categories, but partners all the same.
Right, fantastic. So you mentioned you've been working here for a couple of years. How's this partnership and kind of platform strategy started, and how it's been evolving over time?
Yeah, so from both an accounting but also a platform partnership perspective, from well before my time, I joined the business in 2014, and even at that time, partnerships were really at the heart and the core of what we do. We knew that we wouldn't be able to get to every small business without their professional advisor, and we feel really strongly that small businesses should have a professional advisor, and believe that technology will enable accountants and bookkeepers, and that's why we work so closely with them in that space. And then as a product, again, we're not going to be able to build everything or be every feature for every business. And so from day one, we were really specific about ensuring that everything we built had API capabilities, and that we really invested and supported in that product ecosystem to enable all these wonderful technology companies to build to us and help solve problems for customers as well. So it's been ingrained in Xero since day one. I'd love to say I had something to do with that, but it's been since really early on, and we're continually growing that with people and tools and systems as well. Right.
So you just mentioned that you have several type of partners, like accountants, and then banks, and then financial institutions. How you kind of prioritize them in your mind? I'm sure they're all very important, but...
Yeah, so Xero is a business. Now we have somewhere around 3,000 employees around the world across all of our markets. And here in the UK, we have a really big team that's solely focused on working with accountants and bookkeepers and supporting them with the product. And then in the team that I sit in now, which is the platform partnerships team, again, we're really resourcing that with business development and partnership folks like myself, API specialists, so helping everything from new technology startups to enterprise technology businesses that want to use our API to technically build great experiences. And then we have really a breadth of kind of product marketing and legal resources dedicated to cultivating those partnerships as well. So it's really just investing in that area of the business and really ensuring that we drive success through resources. Right,
exactly. Great. So Xero is like a fantastic brand right now, and I'm sure a lot of companies would love to be affiliated, and they benefit from being affiliated with you. But in terms of commercial benefits of partnering with you, how do you pitch your partners?
Yeah, I think we're really fortunate because every small business needs to run sort of their accounts, right? If you're running a small business, you have bookkeeping software, you need to pay tax, you need to keep records. And we've been really fortunate to be a market leader in small business accounting software. So if you're building an application, or you have an application that you want to get in the hands of small businesses, actually one of the problems that small business probably has to solve is record keeping. And so having an integration with Xero tends to be a pretty high priority for most technology businesses that are serving small organizations. So the commercial benefit for them is generally great product fit for customers. Obviously exposure to, we have over 500,000 small businesses in the UK on the platform, thousands of accounting firms. So I think we have a channel, we have an opportunity to create a better product for our partners. And of course, as you mentioned, there's positive brand and high NPS scores around Xero.
Right.
And so being a certified partner with Xero kind of helps kind of piggyback off that positive sentiment as well, I think.
Right. So by the way, we had a conversation with iwoca, who mentioned you. It's a fantastic partnership. So can you maybe walk us through like one of the examples of the most successful partnerships that you have?
Yeah, so iwoca is a really good example. So I think a few years ago, we started to see more demand from digital lenders, so outside of the main banks,
right,
that were building propositions like working lines of credit or invoice finance. And to make those products really appealing for small businesses, applying for a loan used to be really, really hard. You'd have to get all these documents verified and send them to your bank. And so businesses like iwoca were building a digital experience where you could effectively connect your Xero account and almost immediately get a decision on whether they could lend you money. And so that's great, but we knew that being a financial product and service, we had to be pretty structured and organized around how we work with businesses like that to protect our customers and their data and make sure they have a good experience. And so what we've loved about working with iwoca, for example, and what makes them a great partner is, one, they're really a technology-first business that are really focused on building great experiences. So they've done some wonderful things with the Xero API to make the process for their customer really seamless, which I think is really important. So, there are partnerships where it's just about distribution. At Xero, we're really focused on partnerships that are about solving problems for businesses. So, we're not interested in working with someone that wants to sell chairs to small businesses. It's about how with Xero can we help sort of improve customer experiences. And so iwoca's done a great job of that from a technology perspective, and they're incredibly invested in serving small businesses and working with accountants and bookkeepers, which is what we're all about. So I guess that's one of quite a few examples we have, but it does come back to how do we solve a problem for the customer, and culturally are we sort of aligned as partners and businesses as well.
You managed to scale this partner ecosystem. How do you think about like being customer focused versus like scaling? Do you see like a dilemma here or not? Yeah,
so it's a good question. I think if you look at the accounting channel, which is actually where we've really driven subscription scale and revenue scale for our product. A lot of people are trying to build and sell products via accountants and bookkeepers because they've seen businesses like Xero do that really well. I think the two things marry up really, really well in the sense that the reason we've been able to scale is because we've built the best online accounting platform for accountants and bookkeepers to do what they need to do. So we don't look at accountants and say, how can we sell products through you? We look at accountants and say, how can we make your job as an accountant and bookkeeper easier? And of course, we need to build a sales system around that channel. We need to have account managers and we need to have billing infrastructure and all that sort of stuff. But without actually having a product that makes their life easier, going from, I used to have to run my business on a desktop software product and there was all this friction to, Xero in 2006 brought accounting in the cloud, and now I can build this really, efficient and effective accounting practice. That's kind of the magic. And then we were able to create kind of a channel sales function and scale around that. So I think they are as critical kind of married up, because without the former, you don't get, at some point, without that kind of, that true problem being solved, the accountants aren't silly. They're going to turn around and say, well, actually, we're going to use something else because it's having a more positive impact for us. So I think that's kind of the accounting channel side. In terms of the platform and the technology partnerships that we have, candidly, we're not really looking at those around, we only want to work with you because we can gain kind of distribution. A lot of those apps in our ecosystem have far less customers than we do, but they're building really great tools for small businesses. So we're really happy to kind of cultivate and work with kind of any technology business that wants to use our API. And then the good thing is every now and then, a business like a Shopify or, a large organization that has a big customer base will come along and use the API. And then, of course, Xero becomes an appealing accounting solution for their customers as well because they need to keep records. So, so hopefully that answers your question. But there's a bit of it in the platform space, but of course in the accounting channel, that's how we've really scaled our business.